All right, folks, we are returning to our drawing of the Holy Family. Um, and I had this draw four layer, which is like a fourth pass. Again, for this piece, I was using just the round brush, and I do like how it looks, but I think I'm going to do a final pass and use the inking brush that I created for this, and so I can kind of keep my style consistent with how I've grown. I do like how the round brush is looking, but I do want to just keep evolving. So I'm gonna go ahead and change to the here on where did I put it? Drawing. Oh, painting. That's opus color, artistic, calligraphy, airbrushing. Where is it? Oh, inking there. Opus Inker 1. I'm gonna move this to the top of the list here. Opus Inker 1. How do I maybe I'll just move this one down. There we go. So that's gonna be my brush. And oh, this resolution is pretty big, so we can see how the brush looks when at a higher resolution. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring this down, and we're gonna draw on layer 5 just black. So we're gonna start with Saint Joseph here. Let's start with Joseph. Let's go to Joseph right now. And how big do we want this brush to be? I'm gonna see if the grain is there and present while I make the resolution bigger, or when I make the brush bigger. And it looks like it is there, and we're getting a okay amount of pressure sensitivity. But again, I'm going to play with the brush a little bit so that we get more sensitivity on the size. So if I go here to taper, and because I want to make sure we get more size with the pressure sensitivity. This was on 66. Is it, if I move this one? No, that one's not changing anything. Is it shape here? Scatter? No, it's not scatter. Oops, what did I change? Oh, this is like how grainy it's looking. So I want it to be a little bit, just a little grainy. I think even if I turn that all the way up, it still has a little grain on it, which is what I like. Maybe a tiny bit less. Okay, grain. The grain is fine. We want these shape dynamics to really change the size. Whoa, what's going on there? Is that happening with slanted brush? Whoa, why is it so big? What happened there? I'm gonna hit cancel. You know what? I think those changes kind of mess things up. But here. Oh, I like that. We're gonna bring back that grain though. I mean, not the green, but when I changed the green, I kind of liked it. Which one? Was it shape? Oh, so it was on 0% already. Okay, so dynamics, size jitter. We don't want size jitter. We don't need jitter. But size change. It was on -11. I see. -11. Yeah. Okay, I think this is fine. But the taper, I think, can be made a little bit more sensitive. I'm not sure how these two top ones work. But I think this feels fine. Yeah, I think that feels fine. Okay, so we're just gonna get in there now. And how much do we want to zoom, like when we're drawing this one? Because these are gonna become stickers, and it doesn't have to be too crazy on the detail. So I can make this brush a little bit bigger, and maybe we'll just zoom this far where it's like fitting horizontally into the frame, and then we'll just ink from there. And we're gonna again focus on keeping undos to a minimum. As you can see, I'm undoing a lot right now, but because it's gonna be so small, I don't have to get too crazy about like the anatomy of it, right? We have to choose artistically how much we want to focus on the important details. See, yeah, I think the quality is fine. I'm precise enough. Okay, we're gonna use the same brush too. I always use the same brush for erasing, so we're gonna keep this on Opus Inker as well, but blow it up a little bit. Yeah, this inking brush feels pretty good. I'm checking the time now. I do have like 20 minutes before I really have to start getting ready for work. Again, I'm just doing this before work again. But I also want to get to the break room at work and then upload this video from the Wi-Fi too, and then also do a little bit on Excel about just analyzing how long that last commission took and recording how much time it took. And we can also even count views for the recorded draw time. But I guess that doesn't really matter because the views can still change over time, but the average amount of views, I guess I can look at like the average amount of views for each one. I don't know. I don't want to get too caught up in the numbers for that because it's just a matter of systematically putting them out. Okay, so I'm tempted to zoom in here, but let's keep it, yeah, let's keep it pretty large. Let's get these eyebrows a little bit bushy. Looking at the sketch, we want to focus on, we can make the pupil a little bit bigger. You guys can give me feedback too on my whole inking process and how it looks to you, if it can be better. I know there's a lot of great artists out there. I don't know how many great artists are watching my videos rather than making their own, but if anyone's seeing this and if you just have any comments to make about any improvements I can make in my drawing process, I would love to hear it. I'm always trying to grow. Folded sleeve right here. Again, when my sketch is good, I can just trust it. When the foundation is good, you can just build off of it confidently. Kind of a nice life lesson there. Build the foundation well. Yeah, something we need to think about, especially when thinking about Saint Joseph here. Built the foundation well, did not live to see the day, Jesus fulfilled the work. For better or for worse. Maybe he wouldn't have wanted to see that, but he set the foundation for Mary and Jesus to really facilitate that in salvation history. So here we have an apron. I don't really know what Nazarene aprons looked like, but I wouldn't imagine that aprons in general have changed shape much throughout the years. And if I draw just a regular apron, I feel like people would be able to relate to it. I would love to go back in history and see what kind of work clothes St. Joseph was wearing. Typically, as if you're a woodworker or a craftsman, you want to wear goggles. I don't know if they definitely didn't have plastic back then. They might have had glass in some way, shape, or form. I don't know when glass came about. I'm gonna already start adding line weight in here into the shadows where there might be some occlusion, like underneath the straps of his apron here, underneath his chin. Gonna add some shading here, and maybe some form happening around his neck muscles there. some extra shadow in here. You can already start rendering as you're doing line art. I have really been enjoying The Chosen, starring Jonathan Rumi as Jesus, and really great show. Really like it a lot. St. Joseph finally showed up in maybe episode 5 or 6 or something, showing a quick flashback into Jesus' childhood, the finding of Jesus at the temple it was. Interesting, the way they like to portray the scenes. St. Joseph was like, you should have seen it. And Mary was not there present with Joseph for a moment. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna get some line weight in here, shadows and form. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. We'll get a little bit more scruffy on the contour here. And maybe a little bit more age on the eyes. Not too old though. I read a book about Saint Joseph, and it's like we don't know if he was like super old, but it depends on how you want to imagine him. Really, it's open to interpretation. He could either be really old or sort of younger and stronger. And I think the preferred. Well, actually, I mean there have been different interpretations at different time periods, but I think right now the modern preferred depiction of Saint Joseph is like a younger, like a strong dad, which I'm sure he had to be and trained Jesus in his artisan work, carpentry. Now this does look a little bit different from my sketch. Something about the eyes. I think the eyes were more set apart, and then the nose was like a little bit more structured here. So I think for this part I might zoom, and then we're gonna just kind of bring this a little further back, and then give the nose a little bit more structure here. Maybe larger. That's fine. That looks good. What time is it? 4:33. Maybe let's just do the other sleeve and then a little bit of the apron, and then we'll call it. I do want to take some, I guess, my office time, really, in the break room of my other job. How many jobs do I have right now? Well, I'm a dad, I'm a husband, I work in tech retail, I'm a freelance artist, I do YouTube and Twitch, which, I mean, these are sources of income, not necessarily jobs, like, they could be jobs, but they're more like slow growing side hustles that have been more active in the past than they are now. I used to try to make it my main hustle. Maybe I could have if I was more successful and a little more savvy, but here we are. My skill level tends to go up and down depending on how active I am. But let's focus on growth. I don't want to get into analysis paralysis. It's one of my great weaknesses. Analysis paralysis is like sloth, the sin, takes many forms, because you can still be doing busy work and still be slothful because you avoid doing the thing that's most important, and maybe even have trouble prioritizing what is important, and you end up in escapism, you end up in workaholism. They're both forms of sloth. or also known as Acadia, or acedia, the Greek word. I've made videos on this before. Don't want to get too much into that right now, but it's another thing that Saint Joseph did not really have, or rather, he had the virtue of diligence, which how could he not have, considering he raised and protected the family of Mary and Jesus. So he is the exemplar of what I want to become as a layman and as a family man and as a worker. The more I focus on him, the more I can hopefully be transformed by his example. Maybe even his presence, who knows. So here, maybe it's like folding a little bit. Maybe a little more folding here as well. Okay. Maybe here, yeah, a little bit more folding. A little bit of folding, because maybe we're thinking like it's tied in the back. Which would bring more folding here as well. Let's do his hand, then we'll call it. That'll be our video for now. Ooh, I'm zoomed in. Can we do it while zoomed out? Our original rule that we talked about. Can I get the details of his fingers while zoomed out? Let's find out. Because again, we don't want the details. Like we see it, we get the picture, and it doesn't have to be so incredible that it's like so perfect on all the little details. We're telling a story here, and you do enough to get the story told, and anything else is like, I don't know, leisure, I guess, which is fine. But I mean, this is art. Art is considered like a leisurely thing to do, but we are also telling the story of the Holy Family here. Maybe a little bit of like some lines here to express the form. We want his fingers to be thick, tough, hardened. Concentrating here because it's pretty detailed down here. Trying to be really precise with the strokes on the fingers. It's one of those things that it would help to zoom, but I don't want to. We're not going to do it. That's fine. Okay, that'll do. We'll get in here maybe and put some shadows and line weight to show crevices between the fingers. Yeah, that'll do. Okay, we'll fix some of this later, but that looks pretty good. Again, it doesn't quite match my sketch, so I kind of like the Joseph in the lower layer, but we're just gonna stick with it because I want to get used to this style. Something about the nose is off on this one. You know what? Let's fix that too. It's bothering me. I think it needs to come more forward up here. Yeah. That's pretty good. I don't know. We'll play with it more later. But that's pretty good. We'll go ahead and stop here, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.